guys, so today's video is a video that's been very requested. However, I don't think this is gonna be exactly what you guys are expecting, so let's be quick and start the video. How do I afford traveling? How do I manage to travel that often? So first of all, what I want to say is that everything is very subjective, and I might think that I'm not traveling very often, but you might think this is very often. And me saying I don't think I travel very often is not, me not appreciating what I have or disregarding the fact that for some people it might seem like a lot. I'm well aware that I'm very fortunate and privileged that I got the chance to travel to so many different countries at such a young age, even though I don't feel like I'm really young, but I don't want to sound like I'm not aware of how privileged I am, because I'm going to start this video with saying that yes, traveling is a matter for many people, for most people, of saving, searching for the best prices, working in order to get the money to afford this plane ticket, or maybe spending very little on food while you're on the road or whatever, but it's also a question of privileges. It's not only about the hard work and the very good organization and the very good savings you've made. No, it's also a question of privileges. The fact that I am healthy, the fact that I am French, the fact that I have parents that help me pay the rent, the fact that I live in France and that the government is kind enough to give me money every month because my family is not wealthy, to help me survive, basically. The fact that I don't have to pay for university, or at least not to pay crazy amounts for university because I'm French, all of that makes it very possible for me to travel. The fact that I am free as well to travel as much as I want, the fact that I'm a woman but I don't have to refer to a manly figure in my life to ask for permission, that I can get a visa for most countries, or that I don't even need to get a visa for most countries. All of that is very important and should be taken in consideration. A few bloggers that I really like have written posts on it, and I will post links below. However, I'm pretty sure that most of you came to this video hoping that I would share a bit of my experience or some tips and tricks that I have, or just because you're curious about how I do it myself. When you look at it very carefully, I have been outside of Europe only 4 times. I've been to Japan twice and I've been to Russia twice. All of my other travels have been within Europe. Yes, I'm once again very lucky that I live in Europe, because Europe is amazing, because it's so many different countries with very different cultures, languages, foods, landscapes, all so close together. That's something you should also keep in mind when you look at perhaps my travel history. It does not necessarily mean that because it's within Europe it is affordable. Some places are really expensive and some places are still really expensive. I try to travel in a smart way, if I dare say so myself. I try to really maximize the time that I have. If you have a little amount of time, you want to travel near, or you want to travel really close to where you live, because you don't want to spend so much time on the transport and therefore waste a lot of your time, and in the end spend money on a trip that's not going to be as fulfilling and interesting as it could have been. Then plan things ahead. So many people think of traveling, want to travel, but don't plan it seriously and in advance. When I set my mind on a country, I'm gonna go there, unless something happens, but I want to go there, I'm gonna go there. I research information on prices, I research information on visa, I research information on lodging and accommodation, on sightseeing and how much they cost, how much the food costs, how much everything costs, basically, everything. And then I plan things month and month ahead. The most expensive part is obviously the transport. So depending on where you're going, plane is going to be the only option. However, if plane is not the only option, you should definitely consider other options. I have traveled by bus, I have traveled by train, I've never traveled by car, but I could definitely do it. For example, I went to Venice with the bus. It was very long, 17 hours. It was really tiring, exhausting, and not a great experience, but it was super cheap. Accommodation. I travel very casually. I don't go to fancy hotel. I don't even go to hotel. I go to hostels, or I couch surf, or I rent flat on Airbnb, which might sound a bit like fancy, but it's actually sometimes very affordable, and sometimes a lot cheaper than having a room in a hostel. Now the food, that's also the same. Try to buy bread and fruits and stuff and rice and pasta you can cook or that you can make sandwiches with. I rarely go to restaurants. Sometimes I will, but I try to spend as little money as possible on food. Also, I try to do a lot of things that are free when I'm traveling. I don't like to go to bars, I don't like to go to clubs, because all of those things end up being really costly. So I don't do all those things, and I like to see sightseeings. And if I'm not super interested in the whatever monument that is, I'm not gonna go in and pay just because I have to. I'd rather spend money maybe on something else that's not as famous or well known, but that interests me. Research the things that are free beforehand. Research the things maybe that are free on certain days of the month or certain days of the week, certain times of the day as well. For museums, for example, in France, most museums are free. All museums are free the first Sunday of every month. Not everyone knows that. The thing you want to do is to set yourself a budget that you will most likely end up not respecting, but it's a good idea. Because it helps you it helps you control yourself. Control yourself also with the souvenirs and all that kind of stuff. Travel light, because you don't want to have to pay extra fees because your backpack or your suitcase is too heavy for the company if you're not keeping your luggage with you. Also, very simply but also true in a way, make traveling a priority as much as possible with your own circumstances. What do I get for Christmas and my birthday? Money, most of the time, because I want to keep that money and I want to use it as I wish and as I please, aka traveling. Work as much as you can. Obviously if you're already working, that might seem a bit difficult. I'm just, if that's a possibility for you, take more babysittings, give private lessons, make money online if you can. Sell your own products or your own songs or your own creation of whatever it could be. Cut drastically all of your expenses. Try to really save. I ideally would like to save about maybe 600 euros, and that sounds like a lot, but that's doable. For me, that's doable. It's scared of little traveling. Little traveling is amazing and it's still traveling. Yeah. Also, try to travel with friends. The more you are, the cheaper it's gonna be. I think that's it. Honestly, how do I afford traveling? I'm very lucky and privileged, but I do save a lot of money. I don't go out, I don't go to parties, I don't buy drinks and alcohol, I don't buy clothes, I don't buy fancy stuff. I work, I make videos, I babysit, I'm gonna make another ebook. So all these things end up making money, and I'm trying to put at least half of that money for my travels. If you have any more tips, feel free to share them with us, and I really hope that it inspires you guys. And don't worry, I waited until I was 19 before traveling. Before that, I had never set a foot outside of France, apart from one time with school in Germany, and that was it. And I was completely broke after my first trip, So be patient and you will do it eventually. Don't worry. So yeah, thank you for watching and I'll talk to you soon. Bye!